In Japan, there's a ritual so calming that some seniors say it feels like a warm cup of tea for the soul, and it's helping older Americans reclaim peace in their own homes. It's not about tossing everything you own or living in a white, empty space. It's about a few intentional, almost meditative actions that quietly shift how your home feels and how you feel inside it. Imagine walking into a space where the air feels lighter, where every corner invites you to breathe a little deeper, and where even the smallest objects seem to belong exactly where they are. That's what these rituals create, not a showroom, but a living, breathing home that supports you in this chapter of life. And the best part? You don't have to change everything at once. These steps fit beautifully into a senior lifestyle, even if you have limited energy or mobility. In fact, many older Americans are embracing them because they are gentle, thoughtful, and deeply satisfying. If you've ever felt your home was too loud, even in silence, hit like and subscribe, because today we're diving into the 7 Japanese-inspired rituals that can bring peace back into your space, one mindful step at a time. And trust me, the first one is unlike anything you've probably seen in a decluttering video before. Mizuki Harper is 68 years old, a retired art teacher who now lives in a sunlit bungalow in Portland, Oregon. Her home has walls covered in watercolor landscapes, shelves lined with ceramics she's shaped by hand, and a garden just outside her kitchen door that blooms almost year-round. But what makes Mizuki's space truly unique isn't the art or the flowers, it's the feeling you get when you step inside. It's as if the air slows down, as though the house itself is breathing calmly and inviting you to do the same. Mizuki wasn't always this way. She grew up in California in a bustling household full of movement and noise, where home often meant constant activity. But in her 20s, she took a leap that would change her life forever. She moved to Kyoto, Japan, to teach English for what she thought would be 1 year. That year turned into nearly a decade, and it was there she first learned the art of Ma, the Japanese philosophy of purposeful space. Ma is more than just minimalism. It's the understanding that space itself is as important as the things in it, that the empty areas are not gaps to be filled but breathing room for the soul. Mizuki saw how Japanese homes, no matter how small, could feel expansive, calm, and deeply alive. She learned how carefully chosen objects, simple daily rituals, and mindful movement through the home could create a sense of balance that stays with you long after you leave. When Mizuki returned to the United States, she carried this philosophy with her. At first, it was a challenge to blend the quiet, spacious feel she loved in Kyoto with the more stuff-heavy culture she found back home. But over time, she developed her own hybrid approach, a way of living that honors both her Japanese influences and her American roots. Her home is not empty. It's full of warmth, memory, and personality, but every item is there with intention, and every space is allowed to breathe. Today, Mizuki shares her unique method with other seniors who want homes that feel like sanctuaries instead of storage units. And in this video, you'll see her exact steps, including the one she calls the breath of the house, a ritual she swears can change how your home feels in just minutes. These aren't overwhelming projects or exhausting chores. They are small, beautiful practices you can weave into your own life, starting now. Step 1. The Goodbye Dust Ceremony. The Goodbye Dust Ceremony is Mizuki Harper's gentle way of starting any home reset, and it's deeply rooted in a quiet but powerful Japanese tradition, beginning with a symbolic sweep to refresh the space. But unlike the hard scrubbing or heavy-duty cleaning sessions most of us imagine when we think about tidying, this isn't about elbow grease. It's about presence. It's about slowing your pace until even the smallest movement feels intentional. Here's how Mizuki does it. She begins by choosing a single, easy-to-reach area, maybe the bookshelf in her living room, a framed photo on her desk, or a little ceramic vase that's been in the same spot for years. In her hand, she holds a soft, lightweight feather duster, the kind that glides over surfaces rather than scattering dust into the air. She doesn't rush. She moves the duster slowly, brushing away whatever's settled since the last time she touched it. And here's the part that makes this ritual so different, so healing. As she dusts, she whispers a quiet thank you to the object itself. Not out loud for others to hear, but just enough for her to feel the words in her chest. She thanks the bookshelf for holding her favorite books, the picture frame for capturing a moment in time, the vase for carrying flowers that brightened her mornings. This isn't about being sentimental over everything you own. It's about pausing long enough to remember that these items have played a role in your life. They've been silent witnesses to years of living, and taking a moment to acknowledge them turns an everyday task into an act of connection and gratitude. For seniors in the United States, this ritual has another unexpected benefit. It's wonderfully gentle on the body. The featherlight sweeping motion keeps shoulders and wrists moving without strain, which is perfect if you're avoiding heavy lifting or vigorous scrubbing. It also encourages balance, as you're standing and shifting your weight slightly while you move around the space. In a way, it's like giving both your home and your body a soft, morning stretch. And there's something else Mizuki swears by: the mood shift. She says that by the time she's finished dusting just a few items, the entire room already feels lighter, almost as if the space itself has taken a deep breath. It's the simplest way to remind yourself that caring for your home doesn't have to drain you, she explains. It can restore you. If you've ever felt cleaning was only about getting rid of mess, this flips that idea on its head. Instead of focusing on what's wrong in the room, you focus on what's worth keeping and why. That small shift in perspective can be powerful. So here's my question for you. If you dusted just one item right now, what memory would it bring back? Would it be a photo from a family vacation, a keepsake from your wedding day, or maybe something you've had so long you'd forgotten how it even came into your life? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear the stories your home is holding. Step 2. The Tatami Pause. The Tatami Pause is Mizuki Harper's secret to starting any decluttering or home reset with calm instead of chaos, and it's inspired by one of the simplest yet most profound moments in a Japanese home: stepping onto tatami mats. In Japan, those woven straw mats aren't just flooring. They're a signal to slow down, soften your steps, and enter a space with awareness. They create a natural pause between the outside world and the private, inner life of the home. Mizuki has adapted this tradition for her life in Portland, Oregon, in a way that any senior in the United States can embrace. No tatami mats required. She chooses a single, dedicated spot in her home to act as her personal entry into the act of mindful living. For her, it's a small, low chair with a plush cushion, placed near a sunny window where she can watch the light change across the garden. For you, it might be a soft armchair by the fireplace, a padded bench in a quiet hallway, or even a floor cushion in your bedroom. The location doesn't matter as much as the feeling. It should be a place that feels safe, warm, and undisturbed. Before she begins any physical task, sorting a closet, clearing a kitchen counter, or even doing her goodbye dust ceremony, Mizuki sits here for exactly 3 minutes. She closes her eyes or lowers her gaze, places her hands gently on her lap, and focuses on slow, deliberate breathing. Inhale through the nose for a count of 4, pause for a beat, then exhale through the mouth for a count of 6. As she breathes, she lets her shoulders drop, unclenches her jaw, and notices the way her body feels supported by the chair beneath her. This pause does more than just feel nice, it's a mental doorway. It separates rest time from declutter time in a way that keeps her from feeling rushed or overwhelmed. Many seniors struggle not because the physical work is too hard, but because they start in a state of tension, mentally carrying the weight of everything they need to do. By taking 3 intentional minutes to center herself, Mizuki begins with clarity instead of cluttered thoughts. The benefits for older Americans are huge. It prevents that feeling of burnout halfway through a project. It gives you a moment to check in with your body, making sure you're ready to move without straining yourself. It also turns decluttering into something gentler, less of a battle with stuff, and more of a conversation between you and your home. Mizuki describes it like this: "When I start from stillness, my choices are better. I keep what truly matters and let go of what doesn't, without second-guessing." It's such a small thing, but it can completely transform the tone of your day. And the beauty of the Tatami Pause is that it works even if you're not physically decluttering at all. You can use it before making big decisions, starting a creative project, or even welcoming guests into your space. And once you've centered yourself here, the next ritual transforms how you hear your home, literally, by using sound as a tool for focus and peace. This is the step most Americans have never tried, and it might just be the one you'll love most. Step 3. The sound reset. The sound reset is Mizuki Harper's way of turning an ordinary decluttering task into something that feels almost like a spa treatment for the mind, and it's inspired by one of the most overlooked elements of the Japanese tea ceremony, the intentional use of sound and silence. In Japan, the quiet clink of ceramic cups, the gentle pour of hot water, and the faint rustle of fabric are all part of the experience. They aren't just background noise, they are cues to slow down, become present, and connect with the moment. Mizuki has translated that principle into her home routine in Portland in a way that any senior in the United States can easily adopt. Before she starts clearing a space, whether it's the kitchen counter, a desk, or a bedside table, she chooses a calming sound to set the tone. Sometimes it's a track of soft water flowing over stones. Other times it's a gentle wind chime, bamboo tapping in the breeze, or the subtle hum of a rainstorm. The key is intention. This isn't about putting on background music for distraction, it's about choosing a sound that actively helps your body and mind relax while you work. Mizuki uses a small portable speaker so the sound can follow her from room to room, keeping the atmosphere consistent. You could also use a phone, tablet, or even a dedicated sound machine. The idea is to create a portable sense of calm that moves with you, no matter which space you're working in. Here's why it works so well for older adults. Sound is a powerful emotional anchor. It can shift your mood, slow your breathing, and help you focus. For many seniors, silence while decluttering can quickly turn into overthinking, second-guessing decisions, getting caught up in memories, or feeling pressure to finish quickly. The right sound creates a gentle container for the task, giving your mind something soothing to hold onto while your hands are busy. Mizuki swears by keeping the scope small during a sound reset. She'll pick just one surface, say, the coffee table, and work only on that while the track plays. When the sound ends, so does the task. This keeps the process from feeling endless and helps maintain energy for the next session. She says, "It's not about racing the clock, it's about enjoying the time I spend with my home." And here's something unexpected. This step can actually make your finished space feel more peaceful long after you've stopped working. Because your mind associates the sound with calm, you'll begin to feel that same sense of ease whenever you look at the space you cleared while it was playing. It's almost like you've left a little bit of that sound behind, woven into the walls. If you've ever felt decluttering was a mental tug-of-war, this ritual can break that pattern instantly. You're no longer fighting the mess, you're creating harmony, one sound at a time. So think about it, what sound would be your perfect reset? Flowing water? Soft chimes? The gentle patter of rain? Choose it, play it, and watch how it transforms not just your home, but the way you feel while caring for it. Step 4. The Seasonal Box Ritual. The Seasonal Box Ritual is Mizuki Harper's clever way of keeping her home light, open, and always in tune with the time of year, and it comes from the Japanese kuru-kuru rotation method. In Japan, where living spaces are often compact, people don't keep everything within arm's reach all year long. Instead, they rotate what they use, letting the current season take center stage while the rest quietly waits its turn. For Mizuki, who lives in Portland, Oregon, this ritual became a game changer. She realized that a large part of clutter wasn't just too much stuff, it was too much visible stuff at the wrong time. Thick wool scarves crowding out her summer blouses. Holiday dishes taking up space in her everyday cabinets. Heavy quilts stacked in the linen closet in the middle of July. None of it was technically junk, but having it out of season made her home feel crowded and less functional. So she began her seasonal box ritual. Here's how it works. She uses lightweight, fabric-covered storage boxes with handles, easy to lift, even on days when her joints feel stiff. Each box is clearly labeled, winter clothes, summer linens, holiday kitchenware, spring decor. When a season changes, Mizuki spends a quiet afternoon swapping what's needed now with what's not. Her winter coats and boots move into storage in early spring, replaced by light jackets and sandals. In autumn, she tucks away the garden tools and patio cushions, bringing forward the cozy blankets and warm throws. What makes this ritual special isn't just the organization, it's the mental shift it creates. Every time she rotates a box, it feels like a fresh start. Her closets and shelves breathe again. She says it's like changing the scenery inside my own home without spending a dime. This practice also means she doesn't have to dig through piles of unrelated items to find what she needs. Everything in sight feels relevant and useful for right now. For seniors in the United States, this approach has huge advantages. It cuts down on daily decision fatigue. You only see what's actually needed for the current season, which makes getting dressed, cooking, or decorating far easier. It also reduces physical strain, because Mizuki keeps her storage boxes small enough that they are never too heavy to handle safely. And since the boxes are labeled, friends or family can easily help with the rotation if needed. The seasonal box ritual also works beautifully beyond clothing. Mizuki uses it for kitchen tools she only needs a few months a year, like her ice cream maker for summer and her slow cooker for winter. She even has a small box for seasonal stationery and greeting cards, so she's never hunting for the right one in the middle of the holidays. This ritual keeps her home from feeling stuck in one season and gives her a reason to celebrate the subtle changes in the year. She's found that the act of rotating items itself can be a mindful moment, almost like flipping a page in a book and starting a fresh chapter. So let's make this personal. If you could pack away one whole category today, what would it be? Would it be sweaters you're not wearing, dishes you only use once a year, or maybe those gardening tools that won't see daylight until spring? Whatever it is, imagine the lightness you'd feel walking into a space where only the present season surrounds you. Step 5. The one corner a day focus. The one corner a day focus is Mizuki Harper's antidote to the overwhelming feeling that often stops people from even starting. It's based on the Japanese principle of ikinichi isoku, literally, one accomplishment per day. In Japan, this idea is woven into daily life. Steady, consistent progress is valued more than exhausting bursts of activity that leave you drained. For Mizuki, who now enjoys a slower pace of life in Portland, Oregon, this principle has been a lifesaver. When she first began transforming her home into a more mindful, peaceful space, she made the same mistake many people do. She tried to tackle entire rooms in one go. That led to sore knees, a tired back, and a half-finished mess that felt even more stressful than before. So she shifted her approach. Now, instead of thinking in terms of rooms, she thinks in terms of corners. A corner could be a reading nook with a chair and side table, the top of a dresser, a kitchen counter section, or even a single shelf in the pantry. She chooses just one of these corners each day and commits to finishing it completely before moving on. Here's why this works so beautifully. Each small success builds momentum. Clearing one surface might take 15 minutes, or even just 5, but the satisfaction of seeing that spot transformed creates a ripple effect. Mizuki says, "When I walk past a cleared corner, it pulls me forward, like a promise of what the rest of my home can feel like." She makes the process simple and sustainable. First, she removes everything from the chosen corner so she can see the space clearly. Then, she gently cleans it, dusting, wiping, or even giving it a little polish if it's wood. Finally, she puts back only the items that truly belong there, arranging them so they feel intentional, not crowded. Everything else either gets relocated to its proper place or set aside for donation. The health benefits for seniors in the United States are significant. By working in small sections, there's less risk of physical strain, and it's easy to fit into short bursts of energy throughout the day. It also removes the pressure of finishing the whole room, which can cause anxiety or decision fatigue. Instead, each day ends with a real sense of accomplishment, without leaving you physically exhausted. And there's a hidden psychological benefit, too. A single transformed corner becomes a visual anchor. Even if the rest of the room is still in progress, your eyes and your mind have a place to land that feels peaceful and complete. Over time, these corners connect like puzzle pieces until the entire home reflects the same calm, intentional energy. Mizuki often ends her daily session by sitting near the freshly cleared space with a cup of tea, allowing herself to really notice the difference she's made. That moment of quiet pride is part of the ritual, and she believes it's what makes her want to keep going. And here's where we shift into something completely different, because the next step in her process isn't about removing things at all. In fact, it's about adding something most homes overlook, and it might just become your favorite part of this whole transformation. Step 6. The living object. The living object is Mizuki Harper's way of making sure her home doesn't just look peaceful, it feels alive with personal meaning. It's inspired by the Japanese concept of ikigai, which translates loosely to a reason for being. In Japan, ikigai often refers to life purpose, but Mizuki applies it to her surroundings. Every room should have at least one object that sparks daily joy and reminds you why your space matters. For Mizuki, that object is a handmade pottery bowl created by her late husband, Kenji. It's not tucked away in a cabinet or displayed in a glass case where it's never touched. Instead, it sits in full view on the kitchen counter, right where she makes her morning tea. She runs her fingers along its textured glaze almost without thinking, feeling the grooves where his hands once shaped the clay. To her, it's more than pottery, it's a quiet conversation with someone she loved deeply, a reminder that her home holds not just things, but memories worth carrying forward. This practice is more than sentiment, it's intentional design for the soul. Too often, meaningful items get buried in storage or pushed to the back of a shelf because we think they are too precious to have out. Mizuki believes that hiding them robs us of daily moments of connection. She says, if an object matters to you, it should have a heartbeat in your home. It should be part of your everyday life, not just something you see once a year when you open a box. For seniors in the United States, the living object ritual offers an especially powerful benefit. It turns the home into a daily well of comfort and identity. As we age, the world outside may feel faster, noisier, or less familiar, but one meaningful object can act as a steady anchor, a visual reminder of who we are, where we've been, and what we value. It's also a wonderful way to ensure your home reflects you rather than just the trends you see in magazines or online. Mizuki recommends keeping the living object simple, just one item per room at most. It could be a seashell collected on a honeymoon trip decades ago, a quilt sewn by your grandmother, a handwritten letter framed by the entryway, or even a tool your father once used that reminds you of his hands. The key is that it should evoke a positive, grounding emotion whenever you see or touch it. She also encourages giving this object a stage, a place where it's clearly visible and given space to breathe. Cluttering it with too many surrounding items dilutes its impact. Let it stand on its own, so your eyes naturally find it when you enter the room. And here's something unexpected. This practice can also spark wonderful conversations. Friends and family often ask about the bowl in Mizuki's kitchen, and she gets to share Kenji's story, keeping his memory alive in a warm, natural way. It's a subtle but powerful way of passing along family history without sitting everyone down for a formal retelling. The living object is a reminder that decluttering isn't about stripping life out of your home, it's about making space for what truly matters. And as Mizuki likes to say, if everything is special, nothing is. But if one thing is special, you'll notice it every time you walk into the room. In her case, it's that pottery bowl. In yours? It might be something you haven't seen in a while, hiding in a closet or a drawer, waiting for the light it deserves. Step 7. The evening closure. The evening closure is Mizuki Harper's final, gentle act of care for her home each day, and it's rooted in the Japanese practice of yakan no suji, the evening reset. In Japan, this isn't about deep cleaning or tackling big chores late at night. It's about creating a sense of closure, drawing a quiet line between the busyness of the day and the restorative stillness of the night. For Mizuki, the ritual begins after dinner, once the dishes are done and the house feels like it's beginning to wind down. She walks slowly through her home, not to critique what's out of place, but to choose one main area to leave perfectly clear before she goes to bed. It might be the dining table, the kitchen counter, or the coffee table in her living room. She's not trying to reset every surface, just one space that will greet her in the morning like a fresh page. Before she starts, she dims the lights throughout the house, leaving only warm, low lamps or under-cabinet lighting. This shift in brightness signals to her mind and body that it's time to slow down. She then plays soft instrumental music, sometimes the sound of a shakuhachi flute, other times gentle piano or strings. The music isn't just background, it's part of the atmosphere, helping her move through the task with calm intention rather than urgency. She takes her time clearing the chosen surface, moving each item back to its proper place. If something doesn't belong in the room, she quietly carries it to where it should be, avoiding the temptation to start another project. Her goal isn't to finish everything, it's to create one small island of order and peace. Why just one area? Mizuki says it's about ending the day with a win, not a list of what's left undone. If I go to bed staring at chaos, my mind keeps running, she explains. But if I know there's at least one space in my home that's calm and ready for the morning, I can sleep better. For seniors in the United States, this practice is both practical and deeply restorative. It prevents overexertion at night, when energy is naturally lower, and it transforms the way you start your next day. Walking into the kitchen and seeing a spotless counter or stepping into the living room to find a clear coffee table sets a positive tone before you even pour your morning coffee. There's also an emotional layer to this ritual. By ending the day with a simple act of order, you send a message to yourself: today was enough. I've done my part. Tomorrow, I'll begin again. It's a moment of self-kindness, not perfectionism. Mizuki describes it as closing the cover of a well-read book at the end of the night. The story isn't over, but the chapter is complete. You don't need to keep flipping pages until you're too tired to remember the plot. You can rest knowing you'll return to it refreshed. And perhaps that's why she calls this step her quiet chapter. It's not just about tidying, it's about creating an emotional landing place before sleep, so her home feels like an ally in rest, not a silent reminder of unfinished work. As she often says, your home should be the quiet chapter at the end of your day, not a to-do list staring back at you. When you wake up, that one clear space will be there to greet you, proof that even the smallest act of care can change the way you feel about the day ahead. When Mizuki Harper first began this journey, her home was far from the serene space it is today. It wasn't messy in the traditional sense. There were no piles spilling into walkways or rooms you couldn't use, but it felt crowded in a way that didn't match the slower, more intentional life she wanted after 60. Every shelf was full, every surface carried the weight of objects that had gathered over decades, and while each piece had its story, the stories had started competing with each other. Instead of peace, her home whispered constant reminders of what needed doing, fixing, or deciding. Now, her home feels entirely different. It's not a minimalist museum. It's warm, personal, and full of character, but every corner has space to breathe. You can walk in and feel the shift immediately. The light seems softer. The rooms seem to exhale. There's a sense of calm that follows you from the entryway to the kitchen, from her reading nook to the bedroom. It's the kind of home where you naturally speak a little quieter, move a little slower, and notice details you might have rushed past before. This transformation didn't come from one big, exhausting weekend of cleaning or an expensive overhaul. It came from simple, thoughtful rituals she practiced day after day, rituals that honored her body's needs, her heart's memories, and the seasons of her life. By letting go of what no longer served her and creating moments of intention in the spaces she used every day, Mizuki built something much deeper than tidy. She built a home that actively supports her well-being. For seniors in the United States, this isn't just about decor or organization, it's about living in a space that heals you as much as it houses you. A home that offers rest instead of noise, comfort instead of guilt, and clarity instead of chaos. After 60, you've earned more than just 4 walls and a roof. You've earned a sanctuary that reflects who you are now, not just the person you used to be. And here's the truth, these changes aren't reserved for people with a certain budget, a certain type of home, or a certain amount of energy. They are for anyone willing to take small, consistent steps toward a calmer, more mindful way of living. So if even one of these Japanese-inspired rituals sparked an idea, a memory, or a longing for more peace in your own space, I invite you to take action. Hit that like button, share this video with a friend over 60 who deserves a lighter, calmer home, and subscribe, because your next chapter should feel lighter, calmer, and truly yours.